Imagine a raging fire consuming everything in its path. That's the destructive power of uncontrolled anger. Anger, in its raw form, is like a wild beast. It's a primal emotion, one that can drive us to act without thinking, to respond without reason. It's a force that can tear apart relationships, shatter tranquility, and ignite a chaos that leaves nothing untouched. Consider the metaphor of fire. A flame, uncontrolled, can raise a forest to the ground, reducing life to ashes. Similarly, anger, when left unchecked, can obliterate the ties that bind us, leaving only the charred remains of what once was. Yet there's a wisdom in the Bible that advises us, "In your anger do not sin," from Ephesians 4:26. A reminder that, while anger is a natural emotion, it's our actions in its grip that can lead us astray. Anger, like fire, is a force that can either destroy or purify, depending on how we handle it. But what does it mean to sin in your anger? And why is this such a critical warning? Let's delve deeper into these questions. When we speak of sin in relation to anger, we're referring to the destructive actions and harmful words that can spill forth when we're consumed by rage. This is beautifully encapsulated in the biblical verse from Proverbs 14:29. "Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly." This verse cautions us about the pitfalls of acting out in anger. It warns us that hasty, thoughtless actions born from rage can lead us down a path of folly, a path that strays from wisdom and understanding. The spiritual consequences can be grave, as we risk losing sight of our better selves, our moral compasses, and our connection to the divine. When we act in anger, we risk losing sight of our better selves and falling into sin. So, let's strive to understand our anger rather than letting it control us. So, how can we experience anger without falling into sin? The answer lies in righteous anger. Righteous anger is a concept that may seem paradoxical at first. It is an expression of indignation that arises not from personal affront or injury, but from witnessing acts of injustice or wrongdoing. To understand this better, let's turn to an example from the life of Jesus. In the book of John, chapter 2, verses 13 to 16, we read about Jesus' anger in the temple. He was not angry because of any personal slight or offense, but because the temple, a place of worship, had been turned into a marketplace. His anger was directed at the desecration of something sacred, at the violation of divine principles. This story gives us a profound insight into the nature of righteous anger. It's not about personal grievances or ego, it's about standing up against injustice, against the violation of what is right and good. It's about being deeply moved by the pain and suffering of others, and channeling that emotion into actions that address the wrongs and restore justice. Now let's look at another verse, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. It says, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger." This verse is not telling us to suppress or ignore our anger. Rather, it's guiding us to address it promptly and constructively. If we let anger fester, it can lead us towards sin. But if we resolve it before the sun goes down, if we use it to fuel our fight against injustice, then we are harnessing the power of anger without falling into sin. So what does this mean for us in our day-to-day life? It means that anger is not inherently bad. It's a natural human emotion that can serve a purpose. But the key lies in how we handle it. We need to channel our anger not towards personal vendettas or selfish desires, but towards the pursuit of righteousness and justice. By channeling our anger towards righteousness and justice, we can use this powerful emotion as a force for good. In the end, anger is not inherently sinful. It's how we handle it that matters. This statement brings us back to the heart of our discussion, the power of anger, the potential sin within it, and the path to righteous anger. It's essential to remember that anger in itself isn't the issue, but rather how we respond to it and channel it towards positive change. We've explored how unchecked anger can lead to sin, causing harm to ourselves and others. On the flip side, we've delved into righteous anger, which drives us to confront injustice and stand for what's right. This journey invites you to reflect on your own experiences with anger. Have you allowed it to consume you, or have you harnessed it as a force for good? Remember, anger can either be a destructive fire or a purifying force. The choice is in your hands. If you found value in this video, we appreciate your support through subscribing and liking. Thank you for joining us on this journey of understanding.